All right, let's talk about this header and post system I've got installed here. In hindsight, you know, everything's 20/20 vision looking backwards. I would have liked to move this either closer to the end of the deck or right out to the very end of the deck. But when I set those posts with the dug the trench and set those posts with the excavator, it was just me here. Didn't have any help, and I didn't know exactly how big the deck was going to be, and I thought that was going to be out far enough, and technically it is. There's only about a foot overhang here, but I would have preferred to have this closer to the edge to support this outside member here better. I have been thinking about this for quite a while, and I think that what I'm going to do eventually is make up a metal bracket that goes in here, but temporarily I may end up putting a support piece back in here to help give this some more support. You know, I can't change it now. All I can do is try to improve upon it. So anyway, what we've got here is we're going to have a 4x4 post here, and a third of the way down, since it's 24 feet long, at 8 feet we're going to have a 4x6 post here. I bought 6x6 posts and actually resawed them down to exactly 4 inches by 4 inches by 5.5. They're not 6. Because well, hold on a second. Let me get the tape measure set up, and I can explain this a little bit better. All right, tape measure set up is snapped out is at 24 inches, and that's the length of the deck. And so at 8 inches and at 16 inches there'll be a post. But these two posts here are going to be supporting the majority of the weight, seeing as how the span between these posts is 8 feet. So this post will be supporting to 4 foot, you know, half of that distance, and this post will be supporting to the 4 foot mark here. So really from the 4 mark all the way to the 20 mark are being supported by these two posts in the middle here. I'm talking about the beam that's going to support all the rafters. So the majority of the weight is supported by these two posts, and the end posts are not supporting that much weight. But anyway, these posts here, I decided to make them bigger than 4x4s. They're actually the full 4 inch by 5.5 inch, because got a black fly on the lens. Because a post gains its strength from the material that it's made of, the height that is critical, and the dimension of the material is critical. Those three things are critical in making up in the relationship to how strong the post, how much weight the post can actually take before it deflects or crushes. And so that's why I went with bigger posts here, because they're going to be supporting more of the weight. We're going to leave this 2x4 on here as is, and set the posts on top of it, because that will help, especially this one here, will help distribute the weight to these cantilevered ends of the deck. All right, got all the bottom plates cut and laid out for all of the posts. And I purposely, oh heck, let's see, there's a 2x4 going over on this end like that. I purposely made the openings between there and there and there exactly the same. So these two also are the same, and they match the same. They match the openings on the other side of the deck. That way when I go to make the screen panels, I can make them all the same instead of, they'll be interchangeable. So that'll be nice if you ever have to take them off or put them on, or repair them, whatever. They're all the same. Something to think about in the layout process. All right, I am going to permanently nail these plates down and then start working on the posts and the beam for this wall. That is the next step. All right, I got the first two posts up. That one's just a flat cut on the top, and this one here, like I spoke about earlier, this is going to be one of the ones that's carrying most of the weight. That's why it's a bit bigger, and has a notch in it so that I can bolt the header to the post. And I'm going to well, you'll see what else I have in store, but one of the main concerns here is uplift. We get a lot of wind at times. I want to do whatever I can to keep this roof, since the wind's going to be able to whistle in here under the screening, and I don't want it to be lifted up off of these things. So really going to try and make an attempt to try to tie the roof system all the way down to the pier, the concrete piers that are in the ground. Okay, there are the next two posts, and I'm going to get some bracing ready and have Kristen help me put those up, and then I can go thinking about I'm going to put a beam on the sawmill and rip it, resaw it to 4x8, and then there'll be some scarf in the middle between that post and the next one. So these posts, we're just going to quickly resaw this 8x8, which is 14 feet long, in half. It'll give me 8 by just under 4 inches, and those two pieces will be scarfed together to make the header for the porch. So let's start the saw and cut that in half. Well, it's really nice to be able to have beams on hand and then to be able to resaw them. It's really nice to be able to reuse some of the beams that I cut for the barn. These will make great headers for the porch. Let's take them over to the porch and cut scarves in them. All right, I got the scarf. Oh, I'm falling over backwards. I got the scarf together, and I did a whole video about doing this kind of scarf, so I didn't really film too much of it. So if it's back in the barn build videos somewhere. I did a pretty in-depth video on that. Anyway, I had to get this together so that I'd have the whole piece together, the header. And then what I'm doing next is I'm putting in a very slight notch in here, which will set on top of that post up there. And so these notches, I'm measuring from the bottoms of all of these, and I'll transfer those to here. And so basically the dimensions at the bottom will then transfer up to the top. We'll register in those little notches, and it's kind of self-aligning. So that's what I'm doing now. I just laid out for the next one. I'm gonna just cut that out with a skill saw and chisel it out and do the others, and then we'll take it apart and put it in place.
Oh my God, you should have given me a warning. Hold on.
Hold on to it.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, now can you pull it, slide the whole thing back to you?
Yep.
A little more. Oh.
I'm in.
All right, you're in.
I think.
I'm gonna start fastening in place, and then they'll stay. Alright, I got one more. I've got one more. Oh, I've got one more bolt to put in the up there in the in the splice there, and then I've got to do the other, nail the end in place, and that's the entire header installed. All right, well, this is the end of day one on the porch build. We got the header all in. It looks great. It's all bolted in place and nailed. All the posts are in place. All the bottom plates are down. Tomorrow I'm going to be working on building some the pieces that fill in this wall and on this wall. It'll be exciting. All right, stay tuned for tomorrow. Well, good morning. It's not the next day, it's the following day. I didn't film anything yesterday because I wanted to well, I'll show you what I did yesterday, and then so 2 days ago I put the beam up, and yesterday I got this powder coated railing fencing system in, and I wanted to get part of it done to figure out how to do it. I've never done it before I film anything. And so it's powder coated, and we could have gotten galvanized stuff, but my wife wanted black, and so we got powder coated. And you can see we've got some bracing in place, and that's actually permanent. It's actually these are actually braces off of staging that were years ago. A guy gave me a bunch of it, and I've had it, and it's actually the perfect thing for here, because it's there'll be an opposite one on that post over there, and those are going to be the wind braces that hold this thing from being blown away. And it's bolted obviously to that post and down into the band joist on the deck. And as you can see, I've I routed a groove in here. I could have bought, they wanted to sell me a channel to screw in place, and I said that's stupid. I'll just route a groove in there. And of course the panels, you can't adjust them, so one edge gets a groove, and the other end I just drilled all the holes deep enough, and it works really good. And of course there's a groove on the underside of the handrail, and then eventually there'll be the screens will mount to the outside of this. These will also help the dogs and animals and kids from falling into the screens. So this morning I'm going to get set up, and we're going to take care of that side. Oh, one other thing that one of the things I'm concerned about here is the rafters. There are no collar ties, so the rafters really want us, they're going to be nailed up there and screwed in place, but the weight of the building is trying to push this wall out. Since there are no collar ties, what I did was that top 2x4 is actually dovetailed into the top of the header, and it's notched over that and nailed and screwed, and I added those 2x6s to complete the scenario. And this brace is helping to hold that whole thing from tipping out. I spent lots of hours thinking about the scenario and how to give it the best chance of success. So that's what I came up with, and that's what we're going to do on that end as well. So let me get set up, get all the tools out here. You wouldn't believe the amount of tools I have to do all of this stuff. And we'll get that section done today, and then it's on to the roof system tomorrow. All right, it needs to be 1 3/8 inches. That's what it is. Well, if I was smart, I would have just taken these down to the table saw in the shop and run them over the stacked dado head cutter, and it'd have been done with this in a second, and they'd have been perfect. But this is what hindsight leads to. Anyways, I've got to chop out the last little corners with the chisel. It's not a big deal. And then we'll be in a good place to start assembling. One side of this system fits in the fits in the bottom groove, and one side fits into the groove on the left. But the one on the right, since I have to cut these panels to size, I'm actually drilling holes in here that I can slide the panel into the holes, and that's going to act just as good as a groove. So to get them in the right spot, I'm just plumbing up a line from here. Oh, and of course this brace is right in the way. Oh, never easy. All right, so we're gonna just plumb up from the bottom up to a mark that I made right here. I'll put this brace back on before it all falls down and kills me. And then I just take a cut off from one of the other panels and just put them on the line, and we'll just tap these in and make marks. Luckily, when these panels were made, they're interchangeable up and down, so it doesn't matter if I hold the panel, this sample thing, one way or the other. So now I got all these marks in there. We'll just take a drill bit and drill out. And that's it. Of course, this won't go in because I have to cut the bottom section off, but otherwise they just fit into those drill holes, and it actually gives me a little play left and right, which has been really helpful. All right, I'm going to continue doing those, and then we'll cut some panels. Well, the next step is to cut the dovetail notch on the top plate. how to hold it. All right, here is a shot of the top plate with it's being dovetailed into this header here. And I just finished the layout. Taking off all the braces because they're not needed anymore, because the top plates are all connected into the building, and on this side we've got this brace which is holding it. So I'm going to get started cutting these panels. I'll point you down here. Cutting these panels and getting that post in and the rail, and then I'll work my way towards the doorway. That's that. And the post goes in. Just like this. All right, I got all of the, I don't know, you want it, hog railing, hog fencing in place. The next step is I'm going to cut those top rails and take them down to the shop and run them over the table saw for the dado. That's going to be the easiest thing, and then I'll put those in place. That's the next step. All right, I got all the railings in. They're just run through the table saw, through the dado head, and then they're cut to length and just nailed in with 16 penny nails. So next, I'm going to take a break, but after that we're going to work on putting in these two diagonal braces. All right, I got all of it done. And I didn't film any of it. Just put on the top plates. I put in these braces here, and they're bolted in place. There's two more bolts that are coming this afternoon. Somebody's gonna help pick those up for me. Those are the wrong lengths. So we got all that done. I put straps connecting the post down to the plate, down to the band joist. So everything is, right now the top plate and everything is connected to the deck. Eventually I am going to put, I don't know, you probably can't see it too well, I'm going to put hurricane straps from the joist down onto this beam, and then connect all of these two also with plates to try to get everything to work as one. Well, this is the end of day 3, and I got all of the hog fencing or whatever it is in place. I got all the braces in place. The door is all framed out. The headers and the plates are all done. Kristen and I built some quick staging here, so, and put this one of our planks up so that I can reach the rafters on that side. So tomorrow we'll be good to tomorrow will be all ready in the morning to start cutting rafters. And I also did you see the second bolt hole up there. I put this brace in and thought I had measured everything right, but it didn't match that brace. And when you stood back, it wasn't symmetrical. I knew it would bother me forever, so I took the time to actually change the angle so it matches the other side. Anyway, that's the end of day 3. Tomorrow we'll get rafters up easily, and maybe even some roof decking down. So Gotta go charge the battery, and I'll see you in the morning. All right, there we go, 21 rafters. All right, all the rafters are nailed up, and I have enough space underneath the rafters. I think I'm going to put run a ledger across there just to add more support to the upper end there, and that looks really good. The staging worked out perfect. We have a little bit of shade in here now. Next thing I think I'm going to do is put on the hurricane straps. All right, it's another day, end of another day. What is this? 1, 2, 3. This is the end of day 4. I got all the rafters in. I put in these diagonal braces to help stiffen it up, and to help, since there are no collar ties in the middle, they're going to help from that wall from going out. I made up some ledger strips to go up under there, and I didn't get a chance to put them up. I've got all of the hurricane straps on, and we got the fascia on out there. I don't know why that's not lining up. Lines up on the top. So tomorrow, it's supposed to be even hotter tomorrow. I don't do well in the heat. Tomorrow I'm going to start on putting the roof boards on. All right, I got all the roof deck down, and I got the rake boards put on, and the drip edge nailed down. And next step is I'm going to put down the same high temperature ice and water shield that we put down on the barn roof. We're going to put down on here. All right, it's not pretty. It's actually quite hot out here. And this really should have been done with maybe 2 people, but I've got just a little bit left up here to do. I'm gonna go open up the last roll we have, and then the very last thing I'm gonna do today is try screw on a 1x2 up there to keep that ice and water shield from peeling away from the yeah, it's getting hot out, can you tell? Peeling away from the foam. So that is the end of part 1. That's just, I can't quite get it all into one video. I've got so much footage shot, so I'm gonna try to edit it down to something reasonable, and that's gonna be the end of part 1. We've got the roof is on, well, the roof is watertight, and we don't have any screens yet. We don't have the screen door put on, and I have to rebuild these steps. So that's all going to be in part 2. But this is huge to get to this point. So hopefully by next week I can have this all done, and I can sit out here and with a cocktail and enjoy the breeze. All right, see you on part 2.